Now it's 1:30 a.m. My customer is finally at the house, and I got in my word, and I had to give God his time. And guess what? I ran across a scripture that I overlooked, you guys. I've overlooked this. And it just hitting me so well. Like, I'm going to sit and write out some stuff so I don't forget what I got out of it. But I'm going to read it really quick. Now, this is the book of Exodus. This is when God was leading the Israelites out of Egypt. Now, the scripture says that God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led them around the way by the wilderness of the Red Sea. This basically is saying that there was an easier, faster way out of Egypt. There was an easier, faster way out. Just walk straight through the land. God didn't show the Israelites that way. He took them through the wilderness, and the only way they can cross over was to go through the Red Sea, which there's no road or there's no traveling. There's no bridge to get over the Red Sea. It's a sea. There was an easy way out, but he said he didn't take them the easy way out, because if they saw war going on, they would have got scared, ran back, and went right back into bondage. They would have messed up everything God orchestrated and did to get them out. They would have threw it all up and gave up because they got afraid. They became afraid. He knew that they would see some things in that land that would scare them, and he knew that their fear will cause them to go back into bondage. He also knew that they weren't ready to see certain things, so they had to go in the wilderness. In the wilderness, they died, repopulated, reproduced, and learned how to trust God. It took them 40 years because they were murmuring and complaining, because before they got out of that wilderness, they had to learn some stuff, and there wasn't no going back because they went by way of the Red Sea. They couldn't re-split the Red Sea open. There was no going back. There was no way they can go back across that Red Sea after God parted those waters and sealed it back up. But had he showed them the routes through the land of the Philistines, they would have ran right back because it was easy. So a lot of times we don't identify our struggles as being God orchestrating something bigger and better, because he knew if we got certain things easy and fast, it would have been easy for us to give up certain things easy and fast. It would have been nothing for us to get afraid or become afraid of something and run back. And yeah, I'm talking with sinuses right now, so bear with me, okay? But consider all the work and effort you put into becoming what you are, and how many years it took, and how much went into it. Those are the substances, the things that make it stronger. That's the foundation. That's the backbone. That's what gives you the courage to say, I'm not going back. You think I done sat here and went through this and did this much work and did this much processing on myself and struggled just to easily give up? I'm the type of person that I don't give up, especially when I put something into it. So sometimes God can't let you get it easy because you're going to mess it up. You're weak. Like, some struggles build character and strength. There was no going back for them because God didn't believe an option for them to go back. Sometimes for you, there's no going back for you because God ain't giving you an option to go back. You're going to have to stand there and fight, or go forward, or lay there and die. Those are options. There are people that died in the wilderness because they mentally couldn't do it. They just kept complaining. They couldn't appreciate what God was doing for them. So he said, okay, you're not built for the land of Canaan. Therefore, I'm going to let you die here. Because that's kind of what they chose to do when they chose to still murmur and complain and not go with the process. Just let God be God. He brought you out, open the sea. He made all these provisions, and you seen him make all these provisions, and you still complaining. You seen him. You seen him do all of this, and they still was complaining. They still had a lot to say, much like many people nowadays. You will see God do it for you, and you'll see God do it again, and you'll still find a reason to say, what the heck is this? What's going on in the world? Hey, God is in control. And he got to show you that he God. And either you going to survive it or you're not. Once they were learned, once the ones that God approved to make it were ready to go over, once the mindset was perfect, once they stopped complaining and they trusted God, and God allowed a lot of those people to die, and he let their descendants go see the promise. Because the promise was still a promise regardless. It was promised to their forefathers. However, God wasn't about to let them people mess it up. He wasn't about to let them mess up his perfect plan and his perfect will. And sometimes things are taking a long time because you desire to mess up the perfect plan and perfect will. But until you get in alignment and until you get in position and you give in and give up and you trust God and you let God be God and you sit down somewhere and shut up, it ain't going to happen for you. You might not ever see it if you continue to murmur and complain. You might be like the people that die in the wilderness because they just wanted to go back into bondage. And what are you living for? If I brought you out for better and you complaining about where I'm trying to take you before I even get you there, on the way there, while you see me working for you, you might as well just die now. Sorry that I said it like that. I don't even know if I can say that word on here. However, I'm just saying, you better be mindful of when God is working and know when to shut up. And know that God ain't finna let people mess up his purpose, his perfect plan. I don't care how bad it look. I don't care who you are. He's still God. And if he lets you get it too easy, it won't build enough character for you to understand that that's just a little bit of war. What's a war compared to God? And if you ain't ready to see war and you running back to bondage because of a fight or a war, you're a weak soldier. We gotta fight. And responding in fear is never the way you respond. So sometimes God gotta get the fear out of people. Sometimes he just have to work on you a lot longer. It's going to take as long as you make it take. The sooner you get it and the sooner you let God be God, the sooner you'll have the things God have for you. And that's why I work diligently, regularly, daily to just humble myself and say, God, not my will, but your will. And I'm going to leave it right there. Bye, y'all.